One thing that you hear me talk about a lot on Weekly 50 is how I will kind of come across photo opportunities, sometimes at random, sometimes with a little more intention, but usually not with like some sort of deep plan. So even if I intend to set out and take a photo, like if it's I don't know, a sunset or something, like I'll set out to try and find something that could be a good photo. But oftentimes I just find photos when I'm out walking around. This is totally different. This required a lot of planning and preparation. This is actually my backyard. And it's the March 2025 lunar eclipse as taken in my backyard with my GoPro camera. And you might have seen other star trails photos that I've shared here on Weekly 50. This one is a little different because I had a specific idea in mind. I knew exactly what I was going for, where I wanted to shoot it from. I didn't know, though, if it would actually work. And this is a lot of planning went into this. And if you like this picture, I encourage you to watch the video time lapse. So if you're on YouTube, you can see the video time lapse there. If you're on my blog, you can see it. It's embedded in the blog. This is a 3-hour time lapse, and I knew in advance kind of what I wanted to do here. I had something in mind, and it worked. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I knew that there'd be a lunar eclipse from where I live. I think the peak would be about, I don't know, 1 a.m., something like that. I forget the exact time, but I knew that the battery in my GoPro would last about 3 total hours, because every time I do a time lapse, a Star Trails time lapse, that's how long it lasts, about 3 hours. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to work backwards from the totality and start recording about 90 minutes before that and end recording about 90 minutes after that when the camera would just die. The question, though, is how to shoot this. Where would the moon be? I'm not going to be awake. I can't like set this up in the moment. But I used an app called, I think it's called Sky Guide. It's on my phone. I actually bought it like 10 years ago, and now you have to subscribe. But I think the free version still has some basic stuff that makes it good for plotting out things like this. And with that app, you can kind of tell it what time you want to look at the stars. And so like a week in advance, I pointed my camera up at the sky in my backyard and kind of sped up in time to the moment of the eclipse. And I was looking around for where I could position my camera, my GoPro, and where I could sort of get a viewpoint so that I could get the eclipse when it happened. And it totally worked. The night before the eclipse, like about 7 p.m., I set up the camera on a tripod, and I knew I had my phone like next to it so I could just double check the position of things. And I told it exactly when to start. I used the Star Trails mode on my GoPro, which I didn't change any parameters. I just went to Star Trails. You can schedule it to start at a certain time though. So I scheduled it to start about, let's say, midnight or something, so that it would get 90 minutes before and after totality. And that's what you see here. You see on the left, there's this bright part that kind of narrows down, and then it's this streak, and then it gets bright again. And that's because the moon was bright, and then it went dark, and then it got bright again. And it's super cool. I've taken Star Trails before, but never one like this. And never one like this again, not until there's another eclipse. And the weather also had to line up. If it's cloudy, you don't get a shot like this. So I'm really pleased with how this turned out, and it was a fun experiment to try. And it gives me some ideas to think of what I might do the next time something like this happens as well.